saying that 2016 is coming back. So today I'm going to put a bet on my trend predictions for 2026. Last year I made a lot of wrong decisions. So this year I want to be a lot more specific on if I think these trends are going to happen online or offline, because there is a huge difference. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to read your predictions to see if you agree, disagree, or maybe have other ideas I didn't think of, and also let you know if I think that 2016 is actually coming back. And you might be surprised by my answer. My first prediction is actually adjacent to last year's when I mentioned nostalgic beauties. I specifically said the 90s and 2000s in beauty and fashion would be trending. It definitely did, and I can see it happening this year, but leaking into real life instead, because now that we've seen a lot of that online, I feel that most people are now comfortable picking and choosing aspects of that trend and implementing that into their everyday makeup or clothing. But online for 2026, we will be referencing a different era, and my best guess is going to be the 80s. And I say that because Zara Larsson is the perfect example of this. She's already kicked off a more creative makeup trend, and when you look at her style of makeup, it has this tropical theme and branding to it, but if you look closely, the technique and colors are very 80s. I imagine influencers and artists are going to use this as a reference throughout the year to try things like contour blush, color blocking, and just experimenting with 80s techniques to find that next it moment. But this is only going to be online for now. I don't think this makeup style is socially acceptable to wear outside. Doesn't mean I don't think you should do it. I just mean in terms of the trend predictions and the masses, people are not going to be wearing this style of makeup, but I can see it online because creative makeup is going to be just another form of entertainment. And even if we're not, implementing those makeup styles in real life, people who are deep into the niche beauty community are gonna love it. Right now, we're deep in the era of getting facelifts, filler, Botox, and other procedures to look high maintenance and perceived to have this natural beauty. And until that standard changes, until individuality and imperfection become a trend again, I just don't think people are ready to have fun with beauty just yet. I can definitely see us having a huge split in the style of beauty and fashion this year. There's going to be one end where people are getting creative, having more fun with color, textures, styles, etc. And then on the other end are people who are going to double down on the ultra natural look. I'm guessing that undone brows might become a thing because they've become less and less important over time. Maybe even more muted blush instead because it appears natural on the skin. I've also noticed people just don't care about eyeliner as much either. I know in the 2012 and 2018 time frame, winged eyeliner was a requirement for makeup, at least for myself, but now I notice that people have and will become more comfortable with bare lids since lips and cheeks are just being prioritized a lot more. And I'm pretty sure many of you had some very similar predictions to me, maybe some of you even disagreed. So watch until the end because I'm going to be reading your trend predictions and sharing them with the class. Now that's all to say that every generation pushes back on conformity eventually. And I see that in 2026. I imagine groups of people going back to this more rebellious style. And by rebellious style, I don't mean, the typical emo, grunge, wearing all black, studs, things like that. I imagine that it's actually going to be more of this carefree Tumblr attitude, meaning that it's gonna be cool to look like you threw random things together and not have an aesthetic. For this, I imagine kind of like Addison Rae, and there's gonna be different versions of that, right? When I think of Addison Rae having a carefree style, she has more of a feminine, girly, childlike, whimsical, carefree style, but then there's also the other end where it might be more of that grungy, carefree style, where things just don't match, but they also work for some reason. This also connects to my last prediction in terms of makeup, where there's only going to be one or two main focal points on the face because, again, we're trying to give off that carefree vibe. So that might mean just a lot of blush and maybe a little bit of lip color and lip stain, or little to no blush, a very sculpted face, and a lot of eyeliner. or mascara or something of that sort. And I can see this trend applying online and offline because it's simply just very easy to do. A lot of these styles can be worn every day and adjusted, and it encourages people to dress to their individualistic style and not really care about how things look aesthetic. They can choose clothing and accessories based on what they already like, not what everyone else is saying you should wear. And this kind of hints at my opinion on if 2016 is coming back or not, because I remember back in the Tumblr days, the reason why, at least how I remember the Tumblr culture, is that it was cool to be in the know of what was happening online, but not everyone in real life really was tapped in or in tuned with it. But now, because we're in the age where social media is taking over, people are tired of it, people are tired of influencers, people are tired of brands and ads. We're doing the opposite, where if you are in the know of what's happening in real life and you're not chronically doom scrolling or online, that is going to be cool. So whatever inspiration you get offline is going to be considered exclusive again. On top of that, I think that the internet can also be very niche because of the algorithm. I might see something on one side of the internet and you might not ever see that in your life, which means that some of these trends might be more trends to a very niche community. Now, in the last year, underconsumption and not following trends has become a trend in itself. So I think that most people are not going to change their entire wardrobe in an effort to stick with these principles. But I do see people changing the details in their outfits and embracing accessories as part of their personality to differentiate and stand out what they're wearing from others. My guess is going to be tiny scarves inspired by Hannah Montana's 20-year anniversary. We might also see some quirky tights. This could be applied to the grunge style or the colorful style, and even lace accents everywhere in the hair, underneath clothing, on tank tops, on jeans, on shoes, on nails. And then of course a lot of chunky jewelry, chunky belts that might be slightly more extreme and more of an online trend, but depending on the person, I can see people wearing that. Accessories as part of someone's style identity is what I'm considering to be an in-between trend, because we're not fully there yet to express ourselves and show our personality full out. And I think this is the easiest way for people to play it safe while also still being able to share parts of who they are. So keep this in mind for my other trend predictions coming up, because this kind of leads into my trend prediction on if 2016 is coming back or not this year. Now, remember how I said we are in the era of Botox, filler, and just procedures in general? Well, there will also be a lot of people who switch to DIY treatments because it's saves money. I actually think one of you did mention this trend and I 100% agree with it. I'll have to check back on your comment when I read out all of the predictions at the end. But salons are just getting more expensive, so press-on nails are going to be easier and also more fun. And I have predictions on what those press-on nails are going to look like as well. People will also be investing more in at-home skincare tools like red light therapy, and switch to hairstyles that are easier to maintain at home, which this is something I did mention last year, but to be more specific for 2026, the style I'm gonna guess is that lobs are gonna be a trend, because it feels like a safe haircut to maintain. It keeps your hair healthy, but it's also not an extreme cut where you feel like you're gonna have an identity crisis. My other guess is that we're gonna see more side parts and side bangs, not for any particular reason. I just think that we're bored of the middle part, so people are gonna want to switch it up. I feel like this is also going to bleed outside of beauty. I'm only mentioning beauty because that is what a lot of my content is about, but I can see it bleed into fashion and just general life as well, DIYing anything around your home, for your clothing, for your accessories. Not only are we more conscious about being sustainable, but we're also more conscious about pricing. I think a lot of people are going to switch to getting more crafty and figuring out how to do stuff on their own and gain skills that they don't have to pay someone else to do, or they don't have to pay an excessive amount to get at the store. And if it wasn't obvious, I see this trend happening online and offline, because I can imagine influencers being the test bunnies for a lot of these at-home DIY things, and viewers are going to follow suit because they can personalize any of these experiences if they feel confident that it's going to work or save them money. Now back to what I said about press-on nails, we are going to have a lot more fun with designs since nails seem to be an easier way for people to express themselves. I see nails as, again, another accessory to people's styles. My prediction is that whatever textures, patterns, and colors are trending in clothes will be reflected onto the nails. So I'm thinking plaid, lace, animal print, but not, colorful animal print. It will be neutral animal print because it's safe, and just more inspo from the 2000s. So chunky French tips, but this time it's not going to be chunky French tips on square nails. It's going to be chunky French tips on almond nails. And this one feels a bit random, but ladybug nails. This was suggested by my cousin who does nails on other people, and she said she was getting a lot of requests for ladybug nails. So $15 for a fun set of nails will be the way that people will be able to treat themselves, but also still maintain their appearance without having to overspend. The next prediction might be a bit of a stretch, but because nostalgia has been a major moment in fashion and beauty, there is a fair chance that old styles and silhouettes will translate into clothing in real life. I'm picturing the awkward Y2K clothing will start looking appealing to us again because it's just not as common right now, so it's going to be seen as different even though it's happened already. And when I say awkward and old, I mean capris, and not just capri pants, but capri leggings, ponchos, scoop neck tops, v-neck tops, and long tanks. These are all perfect for casual everyday clothing, so I feel like it's practical, and I notice retail stores are already hinting at this and already selling these old styles of clothing. And to be even more specific, instead of the crazy colors we would wear with these silhouettes, brands are going to launch them but with more appealing colors that can be worn every day, like black, white, gray, brown, because again, we want to play it safe, feel comfortable to leave the house with it, while also still having some sense of change and personality. And last year I said that Asian beauty would take over, which they definitely did. The K-beauty brands were launched and some major retailers like Sephora and Ulta, but this year is going to be the year that Western brands copy the K-beauty playbook. Hopefully more cushions and inclusive shades are going to be launching. I'm confident that lip tints and contours are going to be launching more, and really any trendy product that was created in Korea being copied and sold to the Western market. We already saw this with L'Oreal, Maybelline, and Makeup by Mario, so I don't think it's going to stop at makeup. And in the same breath, online, a lot more influencers and creators will be discovering C beauty, because I don't know if you've been on TikTok, but Chinese culture in general has been everywhere, and I don't know how to feel about that. I am part Chinese and I have a lot of mixed feelings about that. But with all of that being said, anything Chinese right now is apparently cool, so C beauty brands are going to be huge online. Now the next trend I feel very iffy about, and some people might not like this trend. After years of makeup pushing trends really fast and the saturated market of beauty brands, I think that these brands are going to start expanding their product lines to play it safe. And my guess is that it's going to be body care, because everyone showers, everyone wants to smell good. Fragrance has been trending for a while, so it's proven to do well, and we've already seen some celebrity brands expand into body care already, and from what I know, it seems to be doing well. So with makeup being oversaturated and consumers pulling back financially, brands might try to protect themselves by launching products that can appeal to more people that aren't just the niche beauty lovers. Those are all of my trend predictions. Now let's see if you agree or disagree with me or have any other ideas yourself. I obviously had to save the best for last. Thank you all for leaving a comment on my last video. I love reading them. The first prediction says, in my opinion, makeup in 2026 will go back as something more creative than just simple mascara and gloss. We gotta get more specific here. I believe what they mean is that we're not gonna have boring makeup anymore. Like, boring makeup is no longer going to be a thing. And I mentioned this earlier about my two contradicting trend predictions. It really just depends on where we're looking at for these trends. That's all to say, I think that simple mascara and lip gloss is always going to be a thing. If we are referencing online, I 100% agree that more people are going to be experimenting other than a lip gloss and mascara. But I will not confirm, I can't confirm or say confidently that that is going to happen this year until I see brands in particular launching an excessive amount of products that's not simply lip gloss and clean girl related makeup. But I don't think that's going to happen because that type of makeup is appealing to the masses, not just the niche beauty community. The next comment says, I think we're going to see a toned down version of the Zara Larsson makeup in real life, more color, more creativity. Now that I kind of agree with, a toned down version, that makes sense because obviously Zara Larsson is wearing makeup as a performer. Can't really imagine people going around wearing blush contour and neon colors unless they already love that. I just don't know what a toned down version of that would look like. You know what I mean? Ooh, this person agreed with me here. They said influencers on TikTok and YouTube might go for a bit more colorful, full glam look, but people in day-to-day life would still mostly do natural makeup that can be done with minimal effort. Yes, 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 yes. Now, what I'm interested in seeing, if you guys are maybe in high school, that I feel like is a good pool of people to see what's actually trending, because if you're between the ages of like 14 to 18 and y'all are all wearing colorful eyeshadow, then I would 100% consider that a trend. But I don't think there's enough in our culture right now where people are being influenced to do that. Maybe next year, maybe in 2027. But as of right now, brands are still releasing very boring makeup products. The people that we are looking up to as influencers and celebrities, very boring makeup. The only person that hasn't done boring makeup is Zara Larsson and maybe Chappell Roan. I think Sabrina Carpenter, possibly, because she just wears a lot of blush, so that to me is a little bit full glam compared to like the natural clean girl Hailey Bieber look. But I can't think of any other poster celebrity that would change the culture of the type of beauty that we're doing. Maybe there needs to be an influencer that does that, but trends usually come from like music culture, movie culture, online culture, and there's not enough colorful creative inspiration yet for us to do that. We'll see. Another comment said, on the topic of minis, I think makeup and perfume as a keychain charm will be a trend. It will piggyback onto the bag charms and Labubu trend. A brand would be so happy to be advertised on your backpack or purse as a charm, but not weigh your bag down. It would have to be small enough to be a charm, but also sturdy and durable enough to not melt or break and make a mess. I definitely agree with this. I think that it kind of plays off of my trend prediction of people copying K-beauty. K-beauty is very much known for their makeup charms, or at least their, lip keychains, and we're already seeing Western brands copying that. Also, recently saw Charlotte Tilbury launched kind of like a powder pop socket, which was interesting. So I think in general, makeup brands are going to be start doing makeup accessories, because people have enough makeup, right? But they don't have enough accessories yet. And because charms are very much trending, I can imagine brands playing off of that trend, also being inspired by K-beauty and Rhode. Because Rhode did launch a phone case with the lip balm holder, and we're already seeing brands kind of playing off of that. And the last one I'm gonna read, they said, I keep seeing Nina Park makeup videos online. I think that is gonna be the makeup style we see people actually wearing. I think we're gonna keep seeing sheer nail polish take off more, playing off the soap nail trend, maybe a lot more bare nails. The whole trend of Nina Park I actually think is bigger online than the Zara Larsson makeup trend, because Nina Park's makeup is so simple, so no makeup. And even though it looks like it's a no makeup look, she is using a significant amount of makeup for it to show up that way on the red carpet. And the fact that people are really valuing that style of makeup, even though it's technically boring and bland, just goes to show that people just want to know how to do good makeup for their everyday life as well. Not everyone, wants makeup to get more creative. Some people are just doing their makeup because they want to look more presentable at work or at school. As for the soap nail trend and just the bare nail trend, I find that so funny. I thought about mentioning it in my predictions, but I just think it's really funny to think that no nails is gonna be a trend, because this is what my nails look like when I need to give it a break or when I have anxiety and I just want to bite my nails. I agree with it, because I think that people are just gonna be so overpaying the price for going to the salon, and maybe they don't want to learn how to do their own nails or spend money on supplies to do their own nails, so they're just gonna leave it freaking bare. And you know what? I'm here for it. Bare nails need to be more normalized. Now, if it wasn't already clear, I do not think 2016 is going to come back in the way that we think. I believe that 2016, the essence is going to come back, but not the actual trends of 2016. And again, that's because we've been there, we've done that. Yes, 10 years is a long time. The idea of looking back at 2016 is going to be a trend for the moment, which is what people are doing, reposting their 2016 looks. But again, can't imagine people doing cut creases, can't imagine people wearing liquid dry lipstick again, and I can't imagine people dressing like 2016 again. But I can imagine the energy of 2016 coming back, which is a more carefree, almost youthful energy, and not caring about, what's happening on the internet and just like living your life outside of the internet. So let me know where you stand with all of these trend predictions. Do you think 2016 is coming back, or do you have any other predictions we might not have mentioned? Leave it in the comments below. I love to read them, and I might even answer them if I have something to say. But like this video if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.